Why is she there? Why is she just standing like that? Why is she here? I wasn't expecting Gory to be here. I mean, it's a pleasant surprise, though. So, witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Eugene Mikotoba, lecturer in forensics medicine at the Yunpei. Oh my god. Oh my god. Part of me didn't expect him to be in trial in the court at all. So like, I'm thrown off. But also I'm tired. Let me say that again. Eugene Mikotoba, lecturer in forensics medicine at the Imperial Yumei University in Tokyo, Japan. Why are you just staring at him? And Professor Mikotoba, the young lady beside you is. Oh, he brought her here? Ah, this is Dr. Maria Gory, Scotland Yard's practicing court. The daughter of Dr. Sith, I understand. Yes, Dr. Sith. I'm afraid I can't tell you why she's here. She just appeared. Oh, is she gonna help us with something when it comes to the talking about the autopsy stuff? Something. She has to be here for a reason. I also don't remember your voice. You summoned a strange Japanese man as a witness to that autopsy. But you don't summon Mama? That makes no sense. She was there too. She's in jail. But also, your mother is what do you call it? Isn't there a word? There's a word I'm thinking of. She's somebody. It's a Strongheart. She's like a puppet to Strongheart or whatever. That's about the size of it. Also, why does Gory know about this? I've had her eyes boring into the side of my cheek constantly while I was in the antechamber too. How did she even get here? Poor man. The idea of it's making me shudder. Now she's fine. The revelations about Dr. Sith that came to light some days ago defiled the reputation of the entire judiciary. She was therefore deemed unfit to appear as a witness in today's proceedings. We didn't even think about her. The Ministry of Justice's decision on that is final. Well, we wouldn't want any more perjury to be committed, would we? Ministry of Justice. Some questionable strings are being pulled, I think. I remember you, Dr. Mikotoba. I certainly never expected to be meeting you under these circumstances. Yes, it's been a long while, Lord Strongheart. The prosecution understands that you were a visiting student of forensic science in London until 10 years ago. That's right. I studied under Dr. Wilson at St. Sinners, whatever. So you were present at the autopsy of my brother, Lord Clint Van Zeeks? I was, yes. I assisted Dr. Wilson with the entire procedure.
Gee, Mama is far more skilled than a Japanese man.
She's so skilled, then why is she in jail? Well, Dr. Wilson asked me to be his primary assistant on that occasion. And this autopsy report was actually penned by you, I believe? Yes. I noted all the doctor's findings, and when we were done, he read through the documents and signed it.
Poor Mama. A secondary assistant, she wouldn't have had such a good view of all the innards.
So, Professor, do you remember Inspector Gregson? I like that Strongheart isn't even trying to kick her out, even though her and her mom has no bearings on this case right now because of what he said. He's just keeping her here. Yes, of course. If it wasn't for his insistence, Lord Van Zeek's autopsy would have never happened. But he was absolutely convinced that it would reveal decisive evidence against Genshin's. So Lord Strongheart had to entreat the nobility to allow it to take place. Do correct me if I'm wrong, my lord. It was as a result of that autopsy that a mass murder was apprehended and justice was done. But Gregson admitted to it before he was killed. He admitted that the result of the autopsy were fabricated. You were there at the time, so you must testify. You have an obligation to tell the truth about what really went on. Absolutely. That's precisely why I'm here.
And that's why I'm here too.
A word? I like Gory a lot. Very well then. You will give your formal testimony now, witness. But before you begin, a word of warning. Oh? You will state truthfully and accurately what you saw and what you heard at the time. I wouldn't dream of doing otherwise, my lord. The moment your testimony verges on supposition, I will expel you from my courtroom. Remember that. That's not something that I need to be worried about, right? That's something that he has to worry about. I'm not, like, if I press him, he doesn't kick him out, right? I know that happened before Ace Attorney 2 or 3, I forget which one. I ain't messing with that shit. My own observations. I couldn't say there was any indication of the autopsy results having been fabricated. Death resulted from a wound made by a Western-style sword transfixed the heart. That I found a little strange. A Western-style sword. Strongheart's cane is a sword, isn't it?
There were no other signs of eternal energy. Nothing questionable at all. It was just a beautiful but dangerous piece of evidence removed from the man's stomach.
Presumed to have been swallowed by the victim, as a way of posthumously identifying his assailant. He swallowed something? Okay. No indication. Nothing to suggest fabrication? Professor Mikotoba, are you certain about that? Well, nothing that I could positively identify as such, much less swear it into in testimony. Oh, this is the laugh of a not even man at all. Look, this is the face of a not clearly innocent man. Come on! That clears things up nicely. The only fabricated change here, Asugi, has come from you. What? You claimed the inspector confessed just before his death, but that is the fabrication. No, he freely acknowledged it. I swear he did. Freely, with the tip of a sword at his throat. That man was clearly at his wit's end. You got a point there. The court will give no credence to this confession that was uttered in obvious desperation. Quite simply, there was nothing questionable about the investigation of Lord Clint Van Zeek's death. And with this testimony we have, without question, uncovered the whole truth of the matter. If I may, my lord. There was most certainly something questionable about it, and the whole truth does rather elude us, I feel. I beg your pardon. Well, you're obviously aware of the facts of the case. All 4 of the professor's previous victims died when an enormous beast was set upon them that ripped out their throats. Right. That's been like, I like how that tidbit of information has been sprinkled in vaguely here and there, but the details of the whole details of it has not been really talked about how they were all killed by a dog. I guess it doesn't matter, but like it's just weird that this is just like, oh, you know, this happens sometimes. A dog kills people of nobility, no big deal.
Oh, such horrifying crimes.
But curiously, the killer's last victim, Lord Clint Van Zeeks, suffered a different fate. Yes, you're right.
He was stabbed through the heart with a sword.
That's enough.
Oh?
I believe I warned you about this, witness. I promised to curtail your testimony as soon as it entered the realm of supposition or speculation. Very well, my lord. In that case, the defense will pursue a conclusion to this during the cross-examination. What? I have the right to cross-examine every witness after testimony. And I fully intend to exercise that right. Ryunosuke.
I'm afraid that even the presiding judge has no authority to contravene the letter of the law. As I'm sure every member of the judiciary present in the court gallery would agree.
Yeah, well, if they had any spines, they would also agree that this man here is clearly a huge conflict of interest and shouldn't be here presiding. Who the hell how are you gonna accuse a judge and then have the judge be the one to decide his fate? It don't make no sense. Where's the old man? Where's the old man Santa Claus? Very well, you may begin, counsel. However, the moment your argument strays from the established facts, I will not hesitate to bring the cross-examination to an end. Proceed with caution. Yes, my lord. What does that mean? Does that mean I can't press? I'm so wary of pressing. All because of that one fucking case. I think it was in the second game. It's the one with Franziska. I swear I remember it being her. Unless I'm misremembering, but I swear it's her. Unless it's not. Let me just do a quick save. A Western-style sword. Wouldn't that tip you off of the fact that it couldn't have been Genshin? Because he clearly would have a Japanese sword, right? In all of the previous 4 killings attributed to the professor, the victims were killed by an enormous dog, I believe. Their throats were, well, mauled? Correct. And yet Lord Van Zier's was stabbed. You mean to say, you think Lord Clint Van Zier's may not in fact have been one of the professor's victims? There is no basis on which to doubt the findings of the investigations carried out at the time. But Genshin Sogi confessed to all of his crimes upon his arrest. He admitted to having taken the lives of all 5 members of the aristocracy. Yet the priest that was used to carry out the killings was never identified. No evidence was found to suggest that Genshin had ever kept a dog. True hound of hell. Where'd that dog now, I wonder?
There were no other signs of internal injury, nothing questionable at all. It was just a beautiful but dangerous piece of evidence removed from the man's stomach.
What exactly was it, though? What does beautiful but dangerous mean?
Well, it was sparkly and round, with a hole, as if it might slip over a finger perhaps.
A ring?
It was a ring, belonging to Genshin Sogi.
My father's ring was inside the victim's stomach?
At the time, Genshin wore a large ring on the digitus quartus on his left hand, the 4th, or ring finger. I'd understood it was some sort of keepsake.
Yeah, because he was married? My father left Japan for London 16 years ago. I was 8 years old. But I remember that ring. You do? My father's possessions were sent to our family home in Japan after his death, but the ring wasn't among them.
Obviously not. It was a key piece of evidence. It remained under lock and key in stores at Scotland Yard to this day. After the autopsy, Genshin was summoned by the police to check for the presence of his ring. It wasn't on his hand, of course. Moreover, there were deep abrasions on his finger where it had been pulled off.
How hard? Why did you have to yank it off? Wouldn't it have just slipped off?
They arrested the man there and then, right before my eyes.
How could they?
I brought the ring along with me today.
Oh, shit! What? That is a thick ring, Genshin. Come on, that's so not obnoxious. What is a flashy? That's a very flashy ring for a Japanese man to have.
Here it is, a bit dusty from years in the stores.
Well, I mean, not to say that Japanese people can't be flashy. It's just given how like Kazuma portrays himself and how we've seen Genshin thus far, the small little tidbits we've seen of him, it didn't seem like this would be the kind of ring that he would have. But I don't know.
For gracious! Yes, that's it! I haven't seen that in 10 long years.
And that was found inside the victim's stomach?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
You hesitated there, Professor Mikotoba. Should we read something into that?
Well, shut that thing back now. I didn't actually witness the moment it was extracted from the victim's body.
Oh my! Really?
At that precise moment, Dr. Wilson had asked me to fetch him a new scalpel, you see.
Wilson!
Dr. Gory, the removal of historic evidence from the stores requires my consent, does it not?
Well, I'm here to ask for your consent. However, it came to be here. The court cannot deny that this is crucial evidence for today's proceedings. He could strike that evidence from the courts, but he's being generous with us.
Very well, you may submit it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna inspect, I mean. It's not the sort of ring normally seen in Japan. They almost look like claws protecting that jewel. Hang on. A ring belonging to Genshin Sogi found in Lord Clint Van Zier's stomach during the autopsy. The claws clasping at the gem look sharp enough to cause a very nasty scratch. Man, this ring is ugly. That's just a personal opinion, though, obviously. Is that a disc? These fat claws are doing a good job of protecting the equally fat gemstone in the middle of this ring.
Yes, if you were clumsy, you could give yourself a rather nasty cut on them, I should think.
Ow!
Now my finger's bleeding. The claws really are sharp. Oh my, that was very quick clumsiness, Miss Naruhodo. Even for you.
Ugh. Who would make such a dangerous ring? You couldn't swallow it without doing yourself some fairly serious damage, surely.
Sticky mochi bun of about that size would go down much better, with some red beet paste in the middle.
Someone as clumsy as me would probably manage to choke on it somehow. Well, he's self-aware. Is that really all there is to it? So are we to let to believe that he wouldn't have swallowed this because it would have sliced his throat? Not that that mattered because he was already stabbed in the stomach, so the cuts and throats won't kill. Yeah, there's something else you can do with this ring. Really? This is the most, this is not even an engravement? Genshin? You have such a thick ring, you couldn't even engrave something like, oh, from my wife, I love her, so. I don't know why I would say that, but.
We must examine it very carefully, Mr. Naruhodo. Very carefully indeed.
Well, when you say it like that, did I miss something? Very carefully. I'm gonna be so fucking careful. There's fucking nothing. There's literally nothing. I've already told you. Is it the fact that it was so sharp that it cut us? Hang on. Oh, wait. Did it say something in the autopsy report that there's no other injuries or something like that? Besides the stab wound? Death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other superficial external wounds indicative of a duel. External wounds indicative of a duel. Vital evidence recorded from the victim's stomach during autopsy. Blah, blah, blah. No internal trauma noted anywhere in the body. So now here's a question. How do I present this? Do I present the ring? Let me press this. And that was the decisive piece of evidence that led to Genshin Asugi's arrest? Correct. After further investigations by Scotland Yard, the man admitted to his crimes. That's a lie. My father was no killer. Barak Van Zieks, it was you. You twisted the truth to suit your purpose. Cosma, come on! Your hatred of me doesn't change the facts that they were established 10 years ago. My brother Clint had closed in on the professor. In the end, he exposed the man and put a stop to his lethal rampage. Both of you, we just accused Strongheart of doing things, come on! In the way only a man of my brother's caliber could. I guess it's because they still don't think that Strongheart was the one who killed him at this point. I think so. That's everything, is it?
Poor father, you look so troubled.
Perhaps because 10 years ago, something happened that's been weighing on his mind.
Oh, well when you say it like that, he should have said something earlier, huh?
I couldn't say words. That phrasing was very deliberate, I'm sure.
I wonder if he's had his suspicions all these years.
And he's never said, he's a fucking shitty ass person, I'm telling you! Man neglects his daughter, runs off and fathers another child. he didn't do that, but that's the case. We need to use this cross limit, and remove any traces of well, I don't know why I'm beating my controller, I'm sorry. I just want this to go so I can present the thing.
I'll be right beside you, whatever may happen.
Sorry, I probably could have read that, but like it's not imperative to the case. It was the blah blah, presumably swallowed by the victim as a way of posthumously identifying his assailant. No, it's not the ring. Autopsy report then. No? Wait. This bitch said the thing. Here. There it is. Okay. The court has heard that this ring was extracted from the victim's stomach. But you didn't actually see it being removed. Did you, Professor Mikotoba? That's right. As I said in my testimony before, at that moment, I was fetching a replacement scalpel that Dr. Wilson had requested. In other words, you can neither confirm nor deny whether this ring, in fact, really came from the victim's stomach or not. What are you suggesting, counsel? That the ring was never in the victim's stomach to begin with. It's entirely feasible that Dr. Wilson fabricated that detail about the autopsy. What are you saying? That Dr. Wilson... Yo, he faked, but also, I just wanted to... Sorry. I wanted to reread something from the autopsy. The Clint autopsy. There was something about... Additional notes. Recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little and ringed fingers on the right hand, but no documents and corresponding ink was found. There were red ink stains on his fingers. Right hand. Was he wearing the ring? Did Genshin gift Clint the ring? I don't know.
The Dr. Wilson was in possession of the ring in advance, after it was somehow stolen from Mr. Asogi. And he produced it during the procedure, pretending to have found it there and then, in the victim's stomach.
Suppositions at best. What possible evidence do you have to support such a rash claim?
This evidence, right here. That's the autopsy report.
It's explicit in the report, Counsel. Other than the ring, nothing unusual is noted internally, so I'm not sure how you intend to prove your point.
You've already done it for me, my lord. The lack of internal injury says it all.
What?
To swallow a ring of that size would require considerable effort and determination. In addition to its size, there are also sharp claws around the gemstone to contend with it.
My brother was a determined man, and at the brink of death, even more so, I'm sure. He would have stopped at nothing to ensure that evil killer was brought to justice.
But if you really had swallowed that enormous ring, it's inconceivable that no traces of its passage down his throat would have remained as eternal trauma.
No!
Maybe he had just a thick old throat. Or like a wide throat. And there you've arrived at that sticking point.
That's precisely why I had my doubts about the findings myself 10 years ago.
Then why didn't you say something at the time?
Yeah, you fake.
I did. I still remember the conversation I had with Dr. Wilson in the laboratory that day.
Oh, look at this! I don't know. Now this is a very curious thing to find in a man's stomach, wouldn't you say? I don't have a voice for him. He's whatever.
But isn't that rather peculiar, Dr. Wilson?
What's that now, Mikotoba?
Well, if you swallow the ring that size, with those sharp metal claws that it has, surely you'd expect to see damage of the throat and esophagus?
Oh, esophagus?
Torn mucous membranes at the very least.
Dr. Mikotoba, may I remind you that I have vastly more experience than you.
I'm terribly sorry.
Damn, dog. Can't think of plenty of ways to explain why no injuries would be seen. No, let's say this. The victim would appear to have ingested the item as evidence to identify his assailant. Go ahead, write it down.
I was right. Dr. Wilson deliberately fabricated the result of the autopsy to implicate my father.
I'm disappointed, Counsel. That argument is nothing more than speculation.
What?
Dr. Wilson was Britain's leading authority on forensic science and autopsy work. There is no scientific basis on which to doubt the man's expert opinion.
Yeah, you say that about your stupid expert coroner, and look where she is, in jail. All your experts are doo-doo heads.
Pardon the interruption, my lord, but damage to the mucous membranes of the throat is easily identified, even in living subjects.
Using a device called an endoscope, recently demonstrated in practical use in France. I want one. The government can pay.
I don't think so. And Dr. Gore, rest assured that your removal of the evidence from the stores without permissions will not go unpunished.
We opened up the dead to find the truth.
I beg your pardon?
But Mama, she chose to stitch her corpse up with all of her secrets inside. That's wrong. Dr. Gori, it's looking as though she's chosen to walk a different path to her mama.
Man, I like her a lot. She's dope.
Yes, the ring.
What about the ring?
I've just remembered something. An earlier incident.
What incident?
Oh, that hurt my stomach.
The one I recounted to you before. About a memory I have. Of Genshin Asogi saving my life.
What?
My father saved your life? You?
You wretch.
It was 10 years ago, on a foggy night. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. All of a sudden,
I'll make a peep. You're coming with that. Oh, it's so dark. Does he have a ring on? He does have a ring on. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Ba-bang. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled streets. Blood was seeping from his left hand. It shielded me. It was on the ringed finger of his left hand that he used to wear that ring. Are you saying he got shot in his finger? I've always believed those thugs were after me. But now, I'm starting to question if perhaps I wasn't the intended target at all. Wait, but... Genshin was arrested 2 days after that attack. In that short interval, the decisive evidence needed to indict him was miraculously found. What, so they aimed for his finger so that they could retrieve his ring? You mean, the ring was stolen from him? You think that's what those thugs were after that night? Wow, how very specific. Ozma! You pathetic coward. You expect me to believe that you weren't involved? What do you mean by that? It was you, wasn't it? You were the one who took it. You stole my father's ring. You set the whole thing up so you could paint him as a mass murderer and have him arrested. Also, apologies in advance if you hear sounds coming from outside. My window is open. Even though it's not doing anything to help cool me down, it's open and I don't feel like closing it. Kazuma. Open your eyes. Ryunosuke? You must know deep down. The truth can be completely obscured even when your judgment is only slightly clouded. But at the moment, you seem to be floundering through a dense fog. Is that why you were so insistent I should be present in this trial? To see you like this? Well, this is an amusing spectacle. What a grandiose expression on your face! As if you were Lady Justice herself. Who, me? Oh. I thought you were calling me Justice. I'm like, yeah. It seems you've thoroughly convinced yourself of this alleged fabrication of the autopsy results. So much that you are apparently blinded to the blatant contradiction that would be born out of it. What? Though it's extremely hard to believe, let us imagine that there was some misconduct during the autopsy. If that were the case, why would Asogi not have disputed the findings in his trial? Oh. In the closed court hearing 10 years ago, the defendant never once denied the claims against him. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zix? He was doing it to protect somebody. Yes, that is indeed correct. He's doing it, doing it to protect Barrack or something? I don't know. Upon hearing the verdict of guilty, he merely closed his eyes, quietly accepting the judgment. The actions of a man who had accepted responsibility for his deeds, and is resigned to his fate. But then...
Oh my, that is very strange. If Mr. Asogi did nothing to oppose the charges against him, then... that would surely mean there was no fabricated evidence.
An obvious conclusion at which you should arrive many minutes ago, Prosecutor Asogi. Your twisted loyalty and clouded judgments are hampering your ability for logical thought. Genshin Asogi's silence at his hearings can mean only one thing. There was no fabrication of evidence during the autopsy of his final victims 10 years ago. Ah! Come on, man. I'm sweating. We gotta put an end to this.
But if that autopsy was all above board, there'll be nothing to stop Lord Strongheart bringing this trial to an immediate conclusion.
Kazuma. Thank you, Ryunosuke. If it wasn't for your frank words just now, this trial may very well have ended prematurely. He has something for us. He still has. We still have the Asogi papers that mention something about a final weapon or one final weapon or something. We still need to whatever that is.
Kazuma!
What's this latest absurdity, Council?
My lord, your reasoning is perfectly sound. But for one giant hole.
I beg your pardon?
You claim my father's silence was due to the fact that there was no fabricated evidence. But there's another possible explanation. You've overlooked the possibility that he had a reason for maintaining his silence. Silence that would lead him to being convicted and sent to his death.
What was the Asogi papers? By the way, he said it said something about everything being turned over to us, to Kazuma. Where's the papers? Here it is. Upon my death, any material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London will be delivered to my son in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness I accept my faith in this foreign land and knowledge I will never see my homeland and family, but I regret nothing about my chosen path.
If the autopsy reports were an invention, there's no conceivable reason why the man wouldn't have protested. Oh, those results were an invention, right? There's no question on that. Or are you forgetting? 2 people with a connection to the autopsy have been assassinated. If I force the grievances I feel from my mind, I start to see you in a very different light. I think perhaps it's you who's been living in delusion these 10 years.
Me? It's both of you fucks.
Kazuma-sama has created one last chance for us here, Mr. Naruhodo. If we can only show there was a reason for his father's silence in his trial.
A reason why the man would have said nothing, even though he was innocent. Could it have been part of some negotiation, perhaps?
Yes, all of his wealth and belongings going to Kazuma. Probably the sword thing is a very big deal.
Enough rhetoric. The court must be shown evidence. What proof do you have that could possibly explain Asogi's silence in court?
That's my only assumption. I don't have anything else.
This is the defense's answer to that question.
No, it's not it! Damn it! Wait, there's another page of that. Oh! This mentions specifically in negotiations. Is it this?
It's true that Genshin Asogi's silence during his trial resulted in his convictions. But that didn't actually lead to his execution. On the contrary, it led to his escape. An escape that was only possible because he had been sentenced to death. Although I find it hard to believe my father would have negotiated in that way. The defense is correct. A fake execution, falsification of a death certificate, and a jailbreak inside a coffin. Clearly such an elaborate plan couldn't have been carried out by my father alone.
He must have had the help of a collaborator from the judiciary.
I have here the dismissal notice of the chief warder who was working in the prison at the time. Notes read, there were indications that the jailbreak wasn't planning prior to the inmate's incarceration. In other words, there were suggestions of some sort of negotiation between Mr. Asogi and the British government. In exchange for a silence in court, he was given an assurance that he would be broken out of prison. Yes, with that sort of clandestine agreement in place, I can imagine he would have kept very quiet. I would go further than that, in fact. I would say that the elaborate jailbreak of Mr. Asogi can be explained in no other way.
By the British government. It was probably by Strongheart, right?
Order! Order! First fabricated evidence, and now a jailbreak conspiracy.
Of course, it's all ultimately linked. The prosecution wishes to summon new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses. People who can testify about the jailbreak that took place 10 years ago.
Governor Caden and the poor chief warder of the prison.
I won't allow this trial to turn into a farce to summon the governor of the prison after all these years. Oh, there wouldn't be any trouble, my lord. What?
Father!
My dear friend may appear a little rattle-pated at times, but I can assure you, he's extremely thorough. He wired both Barkley and the local prison earlier, asking Governor Caden and Mr. Vigil to attend the Old Bailey as a matter of extreme urgency.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, the smile on Susato's face was very confusing. I was like, huh?
Mr. Sholmes did that?
Are you telling me that? Both men are, unless I'm much mistaken. waiting just outside the courtroom at this very moment.
Oh my goodness, this is bringing everybody into the... I figured Caden must have played more into this because we only saw him for so little.
My lord, you must permit this trial to proceed as you declared at its outset. You promised that we would stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings.
You shouldn't have said that. Now everyone's using those words against you, Strongheart. That's what you get for trying to look so cool.
Very well. Bring in the witnesses. Make no mistake. I, too, would like nothing more to delay this business to rest once and for all.